What's up guys, I am here at St Petersburg in Russia ahead of my flight to London Gatwick with Rossiya Airlines, trying out their business class product. I've just arrived here from Moscow with S7 Airlines. If you haven't seen my review of S7 Airlines already, please feel free to check it out. I'll pop the link down in the description. My flight today operates as a code share with Aeroflot, who own Rossiya Airlines. As a business class passenger, I was able to use the Aeroflot lounge at St Petersburg Airport, which was pretty huge. It features loads of quiet areas to sit, as well as a healthy choice of food and drink, as well as a ton of alcoholic beverages. It has free Wi-Fi and is a really comfortable place to hang out for a few hours before your flight. About 30 minutes before my flight was due to leave, I headed to the gate. I have to admit I was looking forward to seeing what business class on a Russian Airlines short-haul aircraft was like. My economy flights in Russia were a mix of excellent to terrible, so I was really looking forward to seeing what Rossiya's business class would have in store for me.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Boarding for flight 6690 to London is open now at 304. Please prepare boarding passes and passports open to the plane restriction. First airline passengers travel in business class and international flight special business and holidays and also outside priority customers. Thank you very much.
I was pleasantly surprised to find a spacious business class cabin, much like first class on the American carriers. Before pushback, we were given a glass of juice in beautifully branded glassware. The business class cabin was really spacious, with loads of legroom to stretch out. There were blankets and cushions at every seat. Our ride back to the UK today was on a 17-year-old Airbus A319. It was originally delivered to Frontier Airlines in the USA in 2002, and then moved on to Rossiya Airlines in July 2009. It was interesting to see Uzbekistan Airways represented on the ground here at St Petersburg. I'll be flying on them very soon. Watch this space for my upcoming review of Uzbekistan Airways. Before we were able to take off, we needed to be de-iced, a process that took about 10 minutes. We were towed all the way from the gate to the de-icing pan, before the engines were started. As we were being de-iced, the crew came around to take our meal orders. Our route today took us west out of St Petersburg on pretty much a direct path down to London. We flew over Estonia, the Baltic Sea, southern Sweden and Denmark, Germany and the northern Netherlands, before crossing the North Sea into southern England. Flight time today was 3 hours and 5 minutes at a cruising altitude of 34,000 feet. Rossiya Airlines were founded in 1992 and was wholly owned by the Russian government. In the early 2000s, the government decided to merge Rossiya with Polkovo Airlines. Today, Rossiya are majority owned by Aeroflot, Russia's flag carrier. They operate a fleet of over 60 aircraft, the majority of them Airbus A319s and A320s and Boeing 737s. They've also got a fleet of 747-400s and even Boeing 777s in their fleet too, which are used on the airline's long-haul routes. The table in business class is in the armrest and pulls out like this. The in-flight service began with a drinks round. I opted for orange juice and a glass of white wine. The crew came around with our meal service. Today's choices were a choice of chicken or beef, I chose the chicken, red or white wine, I chose white, orange and apple juice, I chose orange, and dessert or none, I chose a dessert of course. Finally there was a choice of tea or coffee and I chose coffee black as always. I felt there was a little bit of an error in translation here. I'd asked for chicken but got fish. It's probably down to a translation error by the crew, but it wasn't an issue, it was still quite nice. I also had to ask for a bread roll as the flight attendant forgot to bring mine. It wasn't an issue though, I'm not that petty, and it's probably down to the individual crew members' level of experience. The crew were fantastic however and very friendly and for the most part really proactive. In particular, I was really impressed with the male flight attendant who stood in the aisle like a waiter at a restaurant to help anybody immediately. I was really impressed by this. In general, the crew were very proactive. There are a number of storage areas around your seat and a power socket to keep your devices charged. The business class bathroom was, well, like any other aircraft bathroom really, pretty basic with all the facilities you need, but most importantly it was very clean. We crossed the Kent coastline into the UK, making what was mostly a very clear approach into Gatwick. We got some really good views as we made our descent. My flight today from St Petersburg to London cost me just £205 or $267 in business class. This was for a flight of over 1,300 miles, making a cost per mile of just 16 pence. This is great value for business class. Consider that my previous flight into Moscow on Belavia cost 15 pence per mile in economy class, and Turkish Airlines was a whopping 38 pence per mile for my flight to Kiev. I was able to credit my miles to KLM in the SkyTeam Alliance. Rossiya used the North Terminal at Gatwick. I had purchased a fast-track passport control pass for £5 before my flight, however it really wasn't needed as there wasn't a single person in line for the passport gates ahead of me. I was straight through passport control within about 30 seconds, which is one of the smoothest airport journeys I've had in the UK. Hint hint Manchester, you could really learn from this. I really enjoyed my flight with Rossiya. As business class goes for European airlines, it's about as good as it gets. For the price point, it's excellent value for money, and I would definitely go for business class over economy if you're ever flying with Rossiya. The crew were great, despite the few inconsistencies, but for £205 you can't really complain. I was glad to be back in the UK. I'd found my time in Russia pretty exhausting to be honest, and I slept for most of my journey back home. What do you think to Rossiya? Let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this video, take care, and I'll see you next time here on In-Flight Video.